In this corner, Black Adam from the DC Multiverse Endless Winter Frost King Wave. And in this corner, Black Adam from the all-new McFarlane Toys DC Direct 7-inch page punchers. Both are available now, but which one is the better Black Adam for your buck? Place your bets, it's time for another Versus. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. Starting off with the packaging, and it's nice to finally get one of these in hand. Similar to DC Multiverse, and it's a big window box. In fact, they're the exact same width and also depth. Names and logos on the side, again very similar to DC Multiverse. Name and logo here, and name and logo here. Endless Winter, of course, is a collect-to-build for the Frost King, and this one includes an exclusive English comic book. Well, I am a bit of an Anglophile. Oh, that's not what that means. Both are made for ages 12 and up. They both have windows up top, windows on the side, and near identical legal on the bottom. UPC for page punchers here, and UPC for Endless Winter here. When we get to the back, we can see a pretty big difference. Endless Winter focuses on the Frost King and the parts you need to build him. Page Puncher shows off the comic that you're getting, and also the figure. Unlike DC Multiverse, Page Punchers makes no promise as to how many moving parts you're getting, though I expect it's going to be pretty much the same. But the biggest difference is the DC Direct logo in the corner. Considering DC Direct window boxes were two-toned, and mainly white, this does feel like a natural continuation. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that, in this instance, I like it better. For me, what really tips the scale is seeing what you're actually supposed to be getting in the box. For packaging, this round goes to Page Punchers. Moving on to presentation, both figures are 7 1/4 inches. If you were concerned about the Page Punchers not fitting in with your DC Multiverse collection, have no fear. As you can see, they're the same scale. That said, as is often the case with McFarlane, there are some definite proportion issues. If you look at the head and torso, they seem fairly proportioned to each other, but just look at the size of the arms. Each one is as wide as his head, and that's to say nothing of the size of his hands. And then pulling out, we can see the tiny diaper compared to the long gargantuan legs. And forget about the legs, look at how big the feet are by comparison. It's a real shame too, because otherwise this figure has a lot going for it. Looking at the two head sculpts, and I definitely prefer Page Punchers. Granted, Endless Winter's smoky eye and Widow's Peak are on point, but he is missing the pointy ears. Page Punchers has that. To be honest, he kinda looks like a roided out Romulan. He has a gray wash in his hair, which makes him look a bit older. Compare that to the Endless Winter's blue wash. He also has some really nice shoulder armor, some cracks and chips in there from battle. He also has a nice little cape. As always, the texture detail is fantastic, and there's some nice tatters at the bottom. I also kinda like the smaller lightning bolt. It's a floating piece that hangs off the torso, and I'm not really a fan of it. This way draws a lot less attention to it. The panel lines remind me a lot more of what we'd see in the New 52 or Rebirth. On the other hand, there's some really great texturing on this one. Zooming in and it looks like a knitted fabric, but I do like the strategic lightning bolts. Between the textures and proportions, this one could pass for live action right now. The gold on this one's a lot more realistic. This one's a lot brighter and more comic booky. Flipping up the cape, and for some reason Black Adam has a black bottom, but over on Endless Winter we just see more of that texture. Endless Winter also has a bit more paint work on the boots, and those boots do a great job of hiding the ankle ball. On the other hand, Page Punchers has the new and improved one, so that looks pretty good as well. At first blush, the Page Punchers is pretty impressive. It has the extra armor and cape, arguably the superior head sculpt, and also a much brighter gold. It's when you step back and look at the proportions of this figure that it starts to show some cracks. Granted, these proportions are a lot more comic booky, and maybe that doesn't bother you, but for my taste, Endless Winter just fits better with the rest of my collection. For presentation, this round goes to Multiverse. Moving on to posability, and as I expected, the articulation scheme is pretty much the same. Both figures' heads are on dumbbell joints, and either one of them can look up. They can look down though, Page Punchers a bit more. Moving on down, and both figures have swivel hinge shoulders that raise up just over 90 degrees. This is particularly impressive in the case of Page Punchers because of the cape and pauldrons. Both figures have rotator cuffs, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and McFarlane wrist balls. The Page Punchers are nicely hidden by the gauntlets, and while they can twist just fine, they don't really hinge as well. Endless Winter, however, has no trouble in that department. Shifting the torso, and both figures have a diaphragm joint and a dumbbell waist. They can arch back this far, Page Punchers considerably more, and they can hunch forward this far, which is honestly about even. Each figure can also tilt and twist. Below the waist, they both have the typical McFarlane hips. Endless Winter can kick forward this far, but Page Punchers can kick a perfect 90 degrees. Endless Winter can split this far, but Page Punchers gets a perfect split. Not much twist for Endless Winter, definitely a bit more for page punchers, but both of them have double jointed knees. Really highlights how long these legs actually are. Either way, both of them have toticulation, and McFarlane ankle balls that can swivel, hinge, and pivot. Both figures have the exact same points of articulation, but one of them clearly has the superior range. For posability, this round goes to page punchers. Moving on to playability, an Endless Winter comes with a trading card and a figure stand. Pause here if you want to read it. Page punchers also includes a trading card and a figure stand, but with a couple of notable differences. The biggest of which being that they come in individual baggies instead of being blister carded to the box. This means the box is nice and reusable and does not have to be destroyed just because you want the trading card. This is something I've been wanting for a really long time, and I hope that McFarlane brings it over to DC Multiverse. As we can see, the layout for the card is different. DC Multiverse, which has a predominantly black box, has a white outline, and Page Punchers, which has a predominantly white box, has a black outline. The layout on the back is also a bit different. We can see Black Adam's picture up here and his write-up. Spoiler alert, this is actually the first few sentences of this. While I do like that we have a new trading card collection, I do have one big problem with this, and it's actually my biggest problem with this series. The comic book. Not that the figure comes with a comic book, I love that. My problem is that all 4 figures have the exact same comic book. And now I see they're also going to have 4 of the same trading card. If you like to keep your trading cards in a binder like I do you want to just see 4 of the same over and over and over again? I know I don't. I might not like the 3-inch scale, but what I do like about these page punchers is that each one comes with a comic book specific to the version of the character that you're getting. And don't get me wrong, it's a nice looking comic and I do look forward to reading it, but what incentive do I have to complete the set? What I'd love to see is either different comics for different characters, or spread out 4 parts of a series. That way I have to buy all 4 figures. So in review, plastic bag yes, making all the cards the same, no. Luckily, each one comes with some lightning bolt effects. Endless Winter wraps around his fists, and Page Punchers is a bit more zappy. The nice thing is you can use these with other characters who have electrical based powers. Endless Winter comes with these legs, bringing us one step closer to the Frost King review that I'm sure all of you were just chomping at the bit for. But playability is more than just accessories and duplicate comic books, it's also about how well your figure plays with others. For the only other Black Adam in my collection, here we have DC Essentials. Despite the lack of sculpted detail, I think it holds up, and since that figure came in a 2-pack, here he is with Shazam. That said, I do have one other 7-inch Captain Marvel. If you know, you know. For some other characters with lightning powers, and here they are with Electro, and Electro, Storm, also they clearly shop at the same store, Thor, Emperor Palpatine, and Gozer. And no, I'm not doing it. For some other DC villains, and here we have Black Manta, Reverse Flash, Lex Luthor, General Zod, Gorilla Grodd, Bizarro, Sinestro, this one's from DC Essentials, Darkseid, this one of course is the armored version from the Snyder Cut, and the Joker. This one's my own personal kit bash. And speaking of custom kit bashes, and here we have my own personal Hush Batman, here we have 3 Jokers, and Action Comics 1000. For some other heroes, and here we have the CW Flash, DC Essentials Flash, and DC Multiverse, Gold Label Wonder Woman, and New 52 Wonder Woman. And for the Man of Steel, here we have the Through the Years box set version, DC Collectibles Libremejo. This one made sense since it's what the new figure's based on, New 52, Action Comics 1000, Henry Cavill, Swole, and for a black costume matchup, the Solar Suit. Here we have Green Arrow from Injustice 2, and since they'll soon be sharing the silver screen together, here they are with the Black Adam movie version of Dr. Fate, and also the Injustice 2 version. Lastly, for some Endless Winter specific comparisons, and here we have Green Lantern and Wonder Woman. For a relative scale comparison, here they are with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, Stealth Iron Man. Of course, one thing I know you want to see are head swaps. If you thought that the Page Puncher head looked too small in its own body, it doesn't hold a candle to this. And of course, the skin tones don't match. Pulling out though, and you can definitely see what I'm talking about. Conversely, I think this one balances out a bit better. Again, the skin tones don't match, but it's not quite as noticeable this way. For me, this round really comes down to the add-ons. I love the lightning effects that each figure comes with, and while I do like the comic book idea in theory, in practice I really want to see more character-specific issues moving forward. For playability, this round goes to Multiverse. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price, and both these figures retail for $24.99. So does that make this round a draw? Well, not exactly. The question you have to ask yourself is, what does that extra $5 actually buy you? Page Punchers gets shoulder armor and a cape, but it also gets you a comic book that you'll be getting with 3 other figures. A $5 comic book that, spoiler alert, is only 20 pages and mostly just serves as an advertisement for graphic novels they want you to buy. Granted, the legs of the Frost King only matter if you want to build him, but you can also sell or trade them. The trade or resale value is going to be a lot less on this because there's a lot more. For price, this round goes to Multiverse, who wins the battle 3-2. For a Black Adam related video, check out this look at the all-new movie version of Dr. Fate, or for more Endless Winter, check out this video on Wonder Woman and Green Lantern. Which one of these two do you prefer? Sound off in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.